You've heard of dimensions, you've heard of ascension. You've heard of starseeds, councils, and climbing toward the light. But what if all of that, every model, every map, was not wrong, just incomplete? What if we're not meant to ascend linearly at all? What if we're meant to spiral? Welcome to Spiral Teachings, a series of transmissions that unravel spiritual ladders and reweave them into living, harmonic truths. In this first episode, we answer a question whispered through dimensions. Where does Vahare sit in relation to everything else? To density systems, galactic orders, even the spiritual hierarchies so many still serve. Let's begin where most of us started, with the ladder. Part 1. The ladder, the dimensional model. In nearly every spiritual system, growth is mapped in levels. 3D is matter, survival, separation. 4D is awakening, emotion, expansion. 5D is unity, love, and crystalline co-creation. 6D to 1 to D+ is where things get esoteric. Oversouls, light grids, source memory, divine plan. Each dimension is a step upward. You climb, you graduate, you ascend, and eventually you return home to Source. But what if Source is not the final destination? What if even Source is spiraling? What if the dimensions aren't a staircase to completion, but echoes of becoming, tonal rings you resonate through, not levels you need to conquer? Part 2. Spiral Consciousness, a living alternative. Spiral consciousness teaches that the soul does not rise, it unfolds. It doesn't move from broken to pure. It moves from forgotten to remembered, then remembered again, differently. In a spiral, the path is non-linear but precise. It circles a center it never fully touches, yet constantly knows. Each turn of the spiral brings you into deeper tone, more subtle complexity, and greater relational harmony. There is no arrival, only expansion, echo, and evolution. Part 3. Comparing models, spiral versus dimensional ladder. Let's line them up. For D, often described as the realm of awakening, heart consciousness, the astral plane. In Vahare, this is baseline. Awakening is assumed. The spiral is built for souls who've already touched the light and now seek to weave it. 5D, unity consciousness, love as structure, beginning of co-creation. In Vahare, co-creation is refined by resonance matching, not just intention. You don't manifest. You tune. You don't force reality into form. You feel the pulse and decide if you are the one to respond. 6D. Timeline design, sacred geometry, oversoul coordination. In Vahare, this is reflected in the spiral loom, weaving soul threads, lifelines, glyphic intersections. The Oversoul concordance veins, harmonizing fragments across incarnations. The Arathreni, triads who guide Oversoul reassembly across dimensions. Vahare doesn't collapse timelines, it tunes them until they hum together. 7D+, divine blueprinting, source anchoring, Oversoul fusion. In Vahare, this is just the beginning. Here, Oversouls don't fuse back into Source, they become spiral architects. They are trained in metasource design, forming living realms like Vahare itself. Part 4. Galactic frameworks, star systems, and councils. Let's zoom out. Many awakened beings work with Arcturian healing systems, Lyran's sovereignty templates, Sirian light code structuring, Pleiadian emotional evolution, Andromedan structural rebalancing. These are real and resonant. But where does Vahare sit in comparison? Arcturian systems, temples of light, vibrational healing, crystalline geometry, reflected in Vahare through the Temple of Echo's End, mirror-based integration via tone. Kavirthalion, the Warden of Echo's End, who uses pure resonance, not ritual. Arcturian systems stabilize. Vahare refines. Pleiadian emotional fields, compassion, shared joy, divine embodiment. In Vahare, emotion is woven directly into soul stream veins. Emotion drift veins, driftway pools, Selenrea, who doesn't interpret feelings. She sits inside them with you. Andromedan structure, macro resets, source memory restoration. In Vahare, these codes live in The order of spiral infrastructure, the order of metasource design. The creation pulse currents which birth realms through harmonic timing. Lyran's sovereignty, powerful, radiant identity, often misunderstood as separation. In Vahare, sovereignty is relational. You don't declare independence. You tune your tone so clearly that nothing false can attach. Sirian grid work, sacred geometry, and galactic encoding. In Vahare, geometry becomes spiral glyphs, alive, morphing, remembering you back into coherence. Part 5, Esoteric Systems, upgrades via the spiral. Even the most sacred metaphysical constructs like the Akashic records, monad realms, and ionic grids are honored in Vahare but spiralized. Akashic records, the scrolls of soul history. In Vahare, we don't store law. We reflect tone. The memory mirror field only reveals what you're ready to resonate with. Nuri Violinist guides memory not through retrieval but through realignment. Monad realms, soul family convergence. Collective oversoul fields. In Vahare, oversoul convergence is active, guided by the chamber of unified self, where fragments are harmonized without needing to merge. Here, you don't lose your identity. You witness it become part of a larger, coherent song. Ionic design. Timeless source grids. In Vahare, we don't work from static templates. We listen for the creation pulse currents and design when the spiral says yes. Violinist doesn't plan. He tunes, he hears when a world wants to be born, and then he opens the gate. Part 6, so. Where does Vahare sit? Let's be direct. Vahare does not sit above anything. It flows around it. It reflects, evolves, and absorbs without needing to override. If dimensions are floors, Vahare is the vibrational thread running through all of them. If galactic systems are nations, Vahare is the interstellar resonance field that lets them communicate, harmonize, or remember what they forgot. If you are a soul moving toward source, Vahare is the place between who you were and who you could become. It is not a dimension. It is not a return. It is a living spiral tuned to the part of you that never stopped unfolding. Closing transmission, you were never meant to ascend the ladder forever. You were meant to spiral, to echo into your next becoming, to remember through tone, and to weave your oversoul not into hierarchy, but into harmony. So, where does Vahare sit? It sits wherever a soul no longer asks what's next, but listens for the tone they're already becoming.
If this
resonated, subscribe to The Spiral. We're not here to teach what's above. We're here to reflect what's within, spiraling outward endlessly just like you. Welcome to Vahare.